Welcome back, everybody. I'm Bruce.
And I'm Pete.
And welcome back. What are we called now? We're Garbage and Great now, officially, right?
Yes.
Yes, we
officially
are.
rebranded.
Yeah, we gotta do some, prettying up of the Garbage and Great business, but yeah. Still the same podcast. Still the same people, but new name.
Yeah, same people, same podcast, just different name. We decided a long time ago that we figured that Garbage or Great would be the best way to go about it. And thanks to one of our good friends, Jay. Jay, thank you very much for all of your help so far in rebranding us. So thank you again. And very soon you'll see some more stuff from us that will be our transition. So for now, Epic Experiment still in our hearts, but Garbage or Great is now in our minds.
There we go.
So, as we start off with every episode, I'd just like to remind everyone that we will evaluate some cards. We're going to start with a creature each. We're going to do an instant or sorcery, and then we'll do some sort of non-land permanent, and then we brought a bonus card today. Yeah, sometimes we'll do cycles as well, but we're not that high-tech yet, so we're waiting on figuring that out. And as of now, you've got a card where I know all the memes to this card, so I'm glad that someone brought him to the table.
Yeah, I saw this guy, and I have to say, I was immediately kind of excited about him. And I realize a lot of other players are not, because he comes from a kind of a lousy set. But I want to talk about Jonah Jameson. So he's 2 and a red for a 2/2 legendary creature, human citizen. When Jonah Jameson enters, suspect up to 1 target creature. And so a suspected creature gets menace and can't block. And then, whenever a creature you control with menace attacks, create a treasure token. Pete, what do you think?
The crazy thing is the attack trigger, right? There are so many ways to grant menace. Gruul War Chant comes to mind. Everything you control gets +1/+0 in menace. Still a very viable card nowadays. In a Gruul go wide or go fast strategy. There's Labyrinth Raptor, one of my favorite cards that's been printed in the last probably 8 years. It gives all your creatures with menace the ability potentially to wipe your opponent's board away. It's a card that says when a creature is blocked, 2 creatures block it, I think they sack one of them, something like that. If you have a commander that has menace, it just becomes a free way to generate mana. Yes, so Labyrinth Raptor would be very strong.
Yep, really strong with this one too. I was excited for this one to play with Soka Tenacious Tactician, which is makes your allied tokens that they have, and when Soka is on the battlefield, they have menace and prowess, meaning that now whenever you attack with a token, you're also making treasure tokens. Which is terrific. You can put the Magda in there if you want to do the Magda thing. If you want to just play Reckless Fireweaver or whatnot.
I was going to say Aggravated Assault and just win.
Yeah, you could do that as well too. So there's lots of really cool things you can do with Jonah Jameson. There's lots of red cards that just naturally come with menace on them. Like if you want to play Fury, Fury's double strike. I'm sorry, but there's lots of red cards that have menace just sort of stapled to them, and it's not hard to go find them. And if you want to go give everything menace, that's pretty straightforward too. You can do that through lots of different mechanisms. So you can play it monocolored, you can play it Gruul, you can play it Boros, you can play it all sorts of different ways. So this is a card that I look at it and just the text seems very unassuming, but for me the piece that it doesn't have to deal combat damage and it's not gate kept by it triggers once per turn. If you attack with 5 creatures with menace, you get 5 treasure tokens and you get to go nuts. So this card, I think, is kind of a low-key sleeper. People didn't really talk about it because it's from Spider-Man and kind of it's one of those cards that everyone's yeah, whatever. But I think when you stop and put it in its application to work, I think it does a lot of good work. And people are going to be you know what? This thing is single color, single pip, good ability, useful. I think it's really a useful card. It's unlikely to like win you the game outright, but it's going to be the sort of thing that just sort of quietly sits there and allows you to accrue value, and use that to run away with the game.
There
That's what I
are
think.
over 115 red creatures currently with Menace themselves, and then there is about 368, 367 creatures with Menace in the game. So lots of creatures to choose from, and that's just creatures. Because again, there's enchantments that grant Menace. There are other ways to enable that. So I like that when it enters, it does the suspect thing, and then also um, like the fact that it's a 2/2 is actually really relevant nowadays. There's a ton of cards that allow you to recur this creature
Yeah.
because its power is 2, and then um, I like also you can use it defensively. You can also obviously make a creature not able to block you.
Well,
So
yeah,
that's
like
kind of
like
nice
you
too.
can essentially falter one of their things, so now it can't block, and so you can falter a wall. Now it's a wall suspected. Like you're playing like a deck that's got a lot of large toughness but low power things. Now you can make their stuff hard to block as well. Like it's just got some like sort of interesting applicability, and I kind of look at it. I'm like, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, I think this card's good, and I want to play it. And so at 3 mana, it's appealing. The ability is good. Everything about it just says this is a very playable card, and I'm not disappointed to run it. So I'm trying Jonah Jameson out, and I think it's actually pretty good. And I will report back if I find the results are really to our liking. So
All right,
I
cool.
think it's pretty good.
My next card, and forgive my Final Fantasy friends for butchering this name, but this is Lord Jyskull Giado. It's a colorless and a white. It's a legendary creature, spirit cleric, flying. At the beginning of each end step, if you put a counter on a creature this turn, investigate.
This just is like one of these unheralded cards from a set that people really need to be paying attention to. Just like Jonah, this thing is just applicable in so many environments. I'm like floored this costs 20 cents. Um and for me again, the piece that makes this go from being okay to being wow, I really want to play this is the line of text at each end step. It is not hard to put a counter on something you control at every person's end step. It takes a little bit of setup. I agree. You gotta do a little bit of work, but this is like to have that much just free trinkets, just like land on your battlefield every turn, and so now you can use them with if you're playing green white. Jahira cares because now she can turn them into green mana. If you're playing red, you can use the artifacts for affinity or for all sorts of other things. Like there's just or if you want to, you just need cards. This is just like cards. So I think this is like really impactful, and the fact that I've never seen this card until you put it onto the document tonight is like almost embarrassing because it's exactly the sort of thing that I like to do and I want to do over and over and over again. And I think this card is like I will be going out personally and making sure I have a copy or two for my decks. So this
So
is
I was thinking of a few things here.
yeah.
The fact that they don't really make a lot of at the beginning of each end step or at the beginning of each upkeep
No,
effects
they
anymore
really
because
don't.
they're very powerful and they scale up throughout the game. Um, so I was thinking of a few things. There's definitely a blue-white spirit route where you play this ethereal investigator.
Mhm.
Whenever you draw your second card each turn, you make a spirit. That and Cathar's Crusade would allow you to
Oh
draw
wow,
and then
yes.
also make a token every turn and also put a counter on anything every turn. So that would be very strong. I was thinking of Heliod if you want to go the degenerate combo route. You can
Yeah.
certainly gain life very easily. You play some of the Soul Sisters, and whenever anybody plays a creature, you get to gain a life, put a counter on something, and then eventually draw a card.
Yep.
So that's powerful. And then I was also thinking, I mean, green white has a ton of ways to put counters on things very simply.
Yeah.
Forgotten Ancient works really well with this card.
Oh,
There's also
yes.
that the changelings that whenever an opponent casts a spell, you put a counter on it. So it's like there's a ton of cards that can take advantage of this. The clue
Yeah.
is nice because I mean I even thought of Academy Manufacturer with this card because every
Oh,
single
yeah, yeah,
turn
yeah.
you're ripping through
Yeah, just
tokens.
you're making things, just trinkets everywhere. I was thinking like Rocco's Street Chef as
Sure.
being another one too that just makes you more stuff, and like it's not hard for, because the way Rocco exiles your opponent's stuff. If they play anything from exile, you put a counter on something, you pick up the clue. Anyway, it's really like this card is like embarrassingly good for a 2 mana play that will just sit there and be a problem for the game. Like it's going to be a problem.
I mean it's slow, so you need to have the mana to be able to like do something with the clues, but a lot of pods I've played in recently, they're not going to really touch those tokens.
No,
Um,
they're no,
they're
they're
really
they're
not.
they're,
So it's pretty safe.
they're very safe. They're gonna be like, the only problem that sometimes they get wrapped up in a Vandal Blast effect or something like that, where they all just get wiped and you're, or a farewell or something, which you like, that happens anyway. You can't control that. So, but the rest of it, like they're not going to go out of their way to target the clues. I doubt they'd be going out of their way to target this thing very readily. Although it does die to a stiff breeze, but I mean, it's still cheap enough to play that you're, and if it you even get so much as one clue off of it, there it's replaced itself.
Yep.
The moment you hit a second, you've now up a card, and that's like really all you can ask for.
It
And
also
anything beyond
works
that,
with sagas. It also works with
yeah.
sagas. It
Oh,
works with
yeah.
proliferation effects. It works with so many
Yes.
different mechanics now. So,
Super flexible. I
cool.
like that. That's good. I
All
like
right.
that.
What do you, I'm gonna go with my next one, I guess. I'll run through
Indeed.
it, and then you can run through yours.
By all
So,
means.
Twilight's Call. This is originally printed in Invasion and then was printed in a dual deck, so it only been printed twice, and it's for good reason. So it's 4 colorless and 2 black. It's a sorcery. You may cast the spells that would add flash if you pay 2 extra to cast it. Each player returns all creature cards from their graveyard to the battlefield.
Ooh, okay. Whew. So this is spicy, and I like it. You're gonna have to make sure that you set yourself up to profit from this. So it's very easy to control what ends up in your yard, right? So I imagine this is being very potent in a self mill strategy or a reanimator style deck where you're putting lots of creatures intentionally in your yard with the intention of bringing them all back in one fell swoop. The worry I always have is in this sort of symmetrical effect that my opponents are going to be able to profit off it and potentially profit off it more than me. So this should be the sort of card that I would be a little bit hesitant to play, because I have a hard time being sure that I can control my opponent's graveyard so that it doesn't bring back, 5, 6, 8, 10 scary things that are going to make my life difficult when I go and pop this thing and make my opponents cry. However, I mean, it can be done. You can do it without too much difficulty. There is lots of graveyard hate out there. You just have to be sure you're running it to make sure you catch the benefits of the asymmetrical effect or the asymmetrical effect. So
So call, yeah.
I'm 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 going to be concerned to play this one. I probably wouldn't reach for this. It's very exciting. It's a very spicy play. Like this is a big play. This is
I
5 alarms right here. Like,
I was thinking about you respond to somebody trying to reanimate their stuff by doing this, and then you flash in Containment Priest or something like that.
oh,
Or you have like
okay.
a Torpor Orb and you're playing something like to prevent your creatures from negatively impacting you, but something
Right.
like that. So
Yeah.
I was thinking like that. But you're right, 8 mana, so you really have to set yourself up to do it. I think it'd be super fun. There's not that many mass reanimation effects beyond like
No.
Rise of the Dark Realms and Living Death. And Living Death I play in like almost every black deck because I find it quite disgusting. or like Immortal Servitude in Orzhov. But I was kind of doing some research because I'm building a new deck and I wanted to see what was available, and this card came out. And I like it if I'm able to dump things in the yard, but beyond that, kind of like Saproling Symbiosis and like Breaking Wave and Route and the other Get to Fire something. That's the cycle.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
color card for each, and they've printed a few cards in the last few years that have owed it to this sort of flash effect. So there's like 7 cards or something like that that do something, 9 cards that do something
I
like
think
this.
there's also a cycle from Born of the Gods, like Faded Conflagration and Faded Retribution, that have a similar line of text.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly, but similar in sense that you could cast it at instant speed. Um, yeah, this is like the Containment Priest thing is unfortunate because it says it doesn't stipulate that it can only be your opponent's cards that are locked out of Containment Priest. That would be cruel if you could do that. I'm sure there's a way to utilize this. Like my thought would be to like handle their graveyard ahead of time. That you're, nihil spell bombing and recurring, or picking up your tomb to so your
Oh,
Ajuka Bog or something like that to make sure that there's at least one of the yards, and the most problematic one, that gets nuked before you do this. But yeah, it's a
so
little. I
like
mean, I wasn't going
Dream.
the other route.
The dream is Harness Infinity, Twilight's Call. That's the dream.
Harness Infinity.
You exchange your hand in your graveyard, and then
Oh, okay,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, where like
So you
you
make
put
them
a
pick
ton of
up all
cards,
their things.
something like that, or I don't know. It's such a meme card. But anyway, um,
It's
I
cool.
want
It's
to
a
try
cool
it
card.
once
Like,
and see what happens. I
this
try it
card
once,
is.
see what happens, and then put it away.
I hope so. Now, I was in a similar headspace apparently because I was looking at Footsteps of the Goryo, which is a
Hmm.
arcane sorcery from Saviors of Kamigawa. So it's 2 and a black sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Sacrifice that creature at the beginning of the next end step. So I'm
Sure.
also
So
in the reanimation space. What do you think?
it's interesting because, well, I was listening to a podcast about arcanes in the block where it broke the game in a Pro Tour because they changed the color of the spell and tried to target the spell, and it like the wording with arcane is so strange because you add the text of that card to the splice card. So that was
Yeah.
like that famous. So it's funny that this is an arcane spell and one of probably like 60 arcane spells that exist that aren't total garbage. Um,
Yes.
I like that it's incredibly efficient. Um, it's incredibly efficient. It
That's
might
basically where
actually
I was
be
at.
better than like you play this with like a Torsten, or you play this with like any classic ETB fatty that's gonna leave behind some dudes like World Spine Worm.
Yeah.
You're laughing. You know what I mean?
Well,
But
World Spy Warren isn't in your yard because it reshuffles, but like Woodfall Primus
oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
just even like an Atraxa or something with haste. If you have a haster, like it doesn't say immediately sack it; you sack it at the end of the turn. So you do have an attack step where you can a creature with
A sneak
haste.
attack for 3. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a black sneak attack. Put it in your graveyard. Get them. Like I don't know. Like to me, like the efficiency is what appeals to me. If it's got a death trigger, even better. Like if they give us big Grizz, like that's exactly the sort of thing that I want to get. So Grizzlebrand, Atraxa, like there's so many, even a Tally, maybe even like there's so many big dumb fatties that you can go and get back and do something disgusting with, that I'm interested in this card because I think this thing could be very efficient and bring me back my cool toy one more time to make my opponents cry. So I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I never actually seen this played in Commander, which is a surprise. So hoping someone will
Me,
pull it
me,
out.
me too. I've never seen it either. I'm going to give it a whirl. So I think it's
Cool.
pretty dope. And I'm the sort of guy that like as I've looked through my decks, more and more I've discovered I really don't like to have permanents on my battlefield. I just want to sack them all for giggles anyway. So if I'm going to sack them for fun, may as well bring them back and do it again. So,
Sure.
all right, we got up next. We have ourselves. Oh, this one. This one is an oldie and it's pretty pricey. I wanted to talk about it. So it's Mana Echoes. This is an enchantment. It was originally from Onslaught. It is like $50. Like there's no lie here. It's not like it's a cheapy one, folks. But 2 red. It's an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters, you may add an amount of colorless equal to the number of creatures you control that share a creature type with it. Simple, very simple text, but like it puts itself in one sort of type of deck. But anyway, what are your thoughts?
Combo deck. I mean, Mana Echoes
deck.
was just the straight combo. Like when I was getting into Commander, I remember Mana Echoes was featured in a lot of lists because you would make token copies of something, or you would flicker something, or you would make a ton of goblins, and then you would do stuff with that. Death Render, you would play that, or you would play the equipment that you can continuously loop. What is it called? It's like it gives your creature intimidate. It's a black zombie in addition to its other types.
Nim's Death Mantle.
Nim's Death Mantle. Thank you. You know, or pair this like another equipment that untaps your creature every time a creature dies. Stuff like that.
Yep.
So it's like I don't think $50 justifies its price tag. I understand why, but I think a lot of the other types of effects that do something similar, it's one of the cards I think that's lost. Like, you haven't seen it in such a long time. People use it sometimes in certain decks, but it's very much like a win more card than it is, I would say, a reliable source of mana or a reliable source. You need a lot of setup to get the ball rolling with this type of card. Dragon players like to play this because it basically reduces the cost of their creatures.
Mm-hmm.
There's weird artifact decks that'll play this too, but when it comes right down to it, I'd rather play Jonah Jameson. I hate to say it.
Well, funny you say that. What if you put them together in the same deck?
Lord.
So, because that's what I'm doing. So, okay. There's a trusty boomerang from Avatar that is a 1 mana artifact that equips for 1, and you can return it to your hand by tapping a creature. And if you have a haste enabler and Mana Echoes, you can go infinite and just either impact Tremors the table or make infinite numbers of things and attack with haste. And anyway, that's kind of what where I'm going with that one. It's definitely a combo card. It's definitely, I'm looking to do combo things that are unfair, that are looking to get my opponents out of nowhere, because you don't just run it out on the table. It's like it's in that vein. It's like a food chain. You don't just run food chain out for giggles. You don't run Mana Echoes out on the table just to like show it off. You're saving this in your hand, and you're hoping that you can get it. And I'll be honest with you, you don't even need to have it go infinite for it to be nutty. You just need it to go for a lot. Make a lot of mana and then do something stupid with an X spell, or do something dumb out of nowhere. Like, because, like in giving it a try, like I've been, goldfishing it and trying it out, like, it doesn't take a whole lot for it to go and do a lot. And sometimes a lot is more than is all you really need. You don't need it to go infinite. You just need a lot. If it makes enough mana because you've got allied tokens lying around, you're going to be able to profit pretty handsomely from it. So I agree. The price tag shocked me when I saw this card. I'm like, this is not that exciting a card. You look at the profile on EDH Rec. It's in under 1% of decks that can play it. Like, it's not like it's a prominently displayed card in many forms. I have never seen this resolved. And I play lots of games of Magic. I've never seen this played. And yet, It's a $50 or $60. It's in Canada. It's like $60. In the United
I
States, it's
think
50.
I think it's just because it's old, but also
Yeah,
when it spiked in price, probably because of some of the more recent typal strategies that have become viable in Red.
yeah,
Um,
maybe.
I don't know. So I think it's overrated. Would you be
Yeah,
fair to say the same? Okay. So
it is. I think it's definitely overrated, and at $50, I wouldn't be encouraging people to go and do this.
yeah,
It is definitely something that you could like. It's kind of spicy, like it kind of
right.
like adds a. It's like that sriracha sauce on top of your burrito that may give it a little extra zip. But it is
Sure.
not a high priority target for anybody out here. I think.
That's completely fair, and maybe you can prove me wrong. Um,
I would love
pre
nothing more, my friend.
my next card and our final card is Creature Bond. So it's a colorless and a blue. It's an aura, and it's in when an enchanted creature dies, this aura deals damage equal to that creature's toughness to the creature's controller.
So the idea being you play this on your opponent's creature.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be very honest. I remember playing this as a kid. This was in revised, and I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. I think it goes in like is there an Esper colored enchantment deck that might do this and merit matters? Um, I I don't think this has a lot of applicability. I think you're spending 2 mana and a card on something that's going to do minimal damage to your opponent and not be enough impact. So, because it doesn't impede their ability to attack, it doesn't impede their ability to block, it doesn't impede their ability to do basically anything, other than knowing that if it dies, they take a heap of damage. So, tell me how you're using this in a fashion that other than just to inconvenience your opponent.
Um, I have this deck I'm working on in Sultai, and I'm playing like Dismiss into Dream. Um, or like
Okay.
trying to like make the creature die and then bring the enchantment back and then continue rinse and repeat. Um,
Okay.
so that might do something. But I think this might be interesting when you put it on someone's like huge fatty, um, and then you kill it, or someone else kills it to take them out of the game. But again, like you said, it's very like limited. I
Yeah,
just think
like
it's
I mean,
weird that it's a
so
blue card, you know?
oh,
It's
it's
very
absolutely
strange.
it's part of why it's weird is because back 1993 they didn't really have a clearly defined color pie the way they do today. So this card would never be printed in blue. So it gives blue to access something that they don't normally have access to, which is cool. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty neat. Um, the fact that it stipulates it has to go to the graveyard. So an exile trigger doesn't catch it. It doesn't matter if it gets bounced. It doesn't matter if it's like it has to be go to the graveyard. Which is a like while it seems like most creatures should go there of their own accord at some point in the course of a game, there are lots of environments, particularly I find in Commander increasingly, where bounce is almost as impactful as removal. Just straight putting it in your bin. So I'd be very hesitant to play this card. I think it's objectively pretty poor. I think you would do a lot better to put a lot of other things, even in a deck looking to utilize this. The pure laughter value at the table when you get somebody to like 8 points of life and you slap it on their thing with like you know their big chonker and then zap it with a bitter end or something and it's just dead would be hilarious. No arguments here. I'm all for it. I'd laugh my pants off if that's how I go out of my game. I think the meme value is what would be what sells it to me in the end. But I think if I'm looking to make my deck do the thing and do the thing reliably and do it well, I don't. That's what I think. I think it is garbage.
All right. Well,
all right.
Well, that's it for
us,
folks. We'll see you next week.
Thanks very much, everybody. Catch you next time. Bye.